Greetings, Earth Explorers. We're back now. First break is over. You YouTubers, we are back live again. If you're listening by audio, you can go to YouTube Live and you can watch us live. If you're watching us as an archive, that's awesome too. This hour, I have Suzanne Ross as my co-host, and in 15 minutes, we're going to bring on the amazing, the indomitable Geraldine Orozco, and we're going to talk about 5D Ascension. We're going to talk about chakras and energy and wellness and how it all fits together. And I think you're going to be amazed because it's not so woo-woo as you might think. It's very scientific these days. In fact, the wellness industry is a $4 billion a year industry. Yes, it is. And I'm not just talking about supplements and exercise and things like that. There's a subset of this that has to do with mindfulness and the role that the mind and the soul play in your wellness, in the wellness of the total being. And it covers meditation. It covers knowledge about how to consciously manage, I don't mean manipulate, I mean manage your own energy state. What you think about, what you intend, what are the different classes of attention that you're applying to your life. And believe it or not, there are a lot of them. And they go from very high vibration, peace, love, joy, things like that, to very low, dark vibration, things like shame and things like guilt and things like jealousy. And it kind of starts in the, the desire area, which is kind of the cutoff between man and animal. And where you begin to go into the higher realms of a more conscious, more intentional living, and away from a more unconscious and unintentional way of living. In other words, crap happens and then you die. It's kind of the way of looking at life. And it's made people ill in our world because you can't really deal with the speed at which humanity is moving and the intensity at which you must operate these days. I don't mean having higher education. I mean having a higher consciousness. I am amazed, absolutely amazed at the individuals that I meet every single day, month after month, in all kinds of areas: hospitality, restaurant, healthcare, education, who at first you would think, oh, well, they probably don't really get into this stuff. They don't really know anything about meditation or maybe yoga or, I don't know, I better not mention the word intention. Oh, no. There are a lot of very awake people. A lot of people who are, living meagerly, living, you wouldn't consider it extravagant at all. Small apartments, used cars. Maybe they don't even own a car. They walk to work. Yet they're operating at these very high frequency levels. It feels great to be around them, and they feel great in their space. So first of all, let me welcome Suzanne Ross. Welcome back. How are you? I know she's there, but she probably has her microphone muted. She'll unmute. She's out there. Suzanne, hello. Okay, I can see her. She's probably connecting her microphone up right now. She'll say hello when she comes on. In 15 minutes, I know that Geraldine is going to click in. And I just get to where I can see the call board. Yes, it's a few layers in on my computer. I just have one big screen. I'm not like these big professional organizations with 3 screens out there, one for the call board, one for the YouTube people out there, because I can see what you see. And then, one for me to look at with my notes. It's all kind of piled on top of one another. It's kind of like my day, kind of like my desk. I have this pile, which is right. It's not quite this high, but it's just below where the camera can see, like my desk. I know a little bit about Geraldine Orozco's work, just what I've read. Let's see here. What do we got? I got a note. Unless you call me right now. Huh. Oh, well, all right. Let's just see if I can add this person. because I thought I did. So we will see if it works. All right, we'll just add them both and see what happens. I have 2 listings for her. One of those will work. I dragged her into Skype and I thought she was live, but she was just in the chat. Are you there now, Suzanne? No. All right. You know, it's a new Skype, and none of us are happy with it. So if you're listening Skype, you messed up. You totally screwed up because it isn't working. We don't really like this new Skype. So we'll see how this will work. Let me just work with this a little bit here. Give me a second. What I'm seeing is somebody's on standby. Let's see if that works. Now are you there? No, it's not working. All right, well, it looks like everybody's going to have to call into the call board. Wait a minute, I hear a noise. Is she there?
I am here.
Yeah, see? You just keep messing with Skype. Eventually it'll work. A little embarrassing. We don't want to worry about technical difficulties. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So she is in Sedona, Arizona. And the reason that we have been doing this the last few weeks is because we have a conference coming up that Suzanne is managing called the Beyond the Matrix Conference. It's the 19th and 20th officially of March. You could show up a little early on the 18th with me and we can have a little bit more face-to-face time. But we're going to have some outstanding activities in Sedona, Arizona, one of the most energetically connected places on the planet, certainly in the United States. It is, for all intents and purposes, a crystal city covered in red rock. And I think you know, if you know anything about crystals, if you know anything about electronics or physics or do any work with radios, you know all about crystals. They oscillate, they can resonate, and they can even generate their own frequencies. And if you're in tune with those frequencies, either with an earpiece like this, or with electronics, or with your mind, you can pick up on these frequencies and hear them or feel them or even get the messages that might be recorded in those crystals. Well, it's nice when you have a rock in your hands or a small crystal hanging around your neck or something like that. Try a city made of it. So this is where this conference is going to be. These are kind of awakening episodes to let you know what we're going to do, who's going to be there, and why you should be there. Because if you're there, it'll be really cool, won't it, Suzanne?
Absolutely. We would love for all of you to join us. Like Brooke said, Sedona really is a magical, mystical place, and there's a definite personality and frequency to who we call the goddess Sedona. But boy, I can tell you at these different red rock temples, you can feel a different type of energy at each and every one of them. And it's interesting that you should talk about, resonating at a particular frequency, because we have a red rock called Cathedral Rock, which is very popular with the tourists and all of the locals. And she's known as the Divine Mother. And it's so interesting. If you go there, you may know this or not know this, and suddenly you're just feeling very nurturing and compassionate, very kind and caring and soft and feminine. And then you go to Bell Rock, and he's the patriarch. And you get this more like reverence for ancient wisdom, the Divine Father type of energy. And then you go to the one in between, and that is Airport Rock, and it's known as the sun. And you feel this high testosterone, and it can agitate, some men who go there, but women go there and they end up feeling very empowered, like they can really stand in their power. And so it's really a very legitimate type of experience that you have on the Red Rocks.
So you're saying it would be a good idea to be standing at the
Mhm.
bottom of the mountain with roses in your hands when a woman comes down off that mountain. It would be a good time to ask for a date. I get it. I get it. Okay.
Yes.
I'm making notes.
Yes,
I'm
and
making
so
notes.
our beautiful event is here in the Red Rock Paradise. And yes, it's at an incredible event venue that's all surrounded by big glass windows. So you have beautiful views all around all the time. And of course, we have an incredible lineup of presenters who will all be offering some type of energetic practice that we do as a group. So it'll be highly interactive. You can check it all out at beyondthematrix.tv. And oh, we're running a special. So a promoter that is helping me, attract people to the event suggested that we run a 2-for-1 on the 2-day pass up until March 1st.
Wow.
So for the next, I
So
don't
two
know,
people
10
can sign
days,
up
we're
for the
doing
price
this.
of one.
Wants to bring a friend? Yeah.
Two people can sign up for the price of
Two for
one
one.
until March 1st. Wow, that's a great deal.
March 1st.
That's great.
And the code to enter is Equinox and the numbers 241. So Equinox 241. When you go to checkout, enter that code and you'll be able to get a 2-day pass that's normally going to cost you $266 for $133. So you can bring a friend.
Wow. It was already a good deal. Now it's an amazing deal. I hope we have enough chairs.
Yeah.
So we have about
Yeah.
3 minutes, and Geraldine
Yeah.
Orozco is going to come on. Tell us a little bit about her before she comes on, so she doesn't have to do it herself.
The only word I can think of is just phenomenal. I mean, she is brilliant, beautiful, and incredibly well versed on human genetics, the coveted human soul, and the galactic's interest in our DNA, our particular DNA structure. Some races are interested in the human soul, and she is very aware that she has hybrid children in another star system because she was taken aboard a craft and shown these children. As a result of that experience, she has been able to tune into or be downloaded with very advanced concepts about genetics. It's really astonishing. She's incredibly fascinating. She's also now been gifted with the ability to activate dormant DNA strands. She has many services that she offers on her website, Bay Area Meditation.com. I know she offers sessions. She's also going to have a show on sci-spy.tv called From Creature to Creator. And it's a perfect name for her show. I had the opportunity to see her speak at Stargate to the Cosmos. She was incredibly brilliant and just such a beautiful soul, inside and out. I got a chance to sit down with her at that conference, and we chatted for about an hour. And I was just truly blown away by her knowledge, by her advanced wisdom and knowledge. So it will be a very fascinating conversation. And of course, she'll be live at our upcoming event. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm fascinated by this stuff anyway. Ever since I was a number of years ago, I interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton a couple of times. He had come up with a book called The Biology of Belief. I liked the book.
Mm-hmm.
I called him up. He agreed to come on the program. We spoke for 3 hours. I wish it was 5. He was amazingly easy to talk to, but something interesting came out of the interview that he didn't have in his book. And that was a discussion about what alters identical twins. We were talking about identical twins who were genetically identical at birth, but almost to a fault. And there's been like 10,000 sets of identical twins that have been studied over the years. By the time they reach 35 or 40, their genes, their genetic expression, uh, diverges, and they're no longer identical. And he said that the reason this occurs is because genes have a variety of proteins that they can choose from to make. It's kind of a gene factory, but we don't really have enough gene pairs in the human body that can correspond to the number of proteins it takes to build, operate, and maintain a human body. So the genes have a wide variety of proteins that they can make. And so I asked him, so what makes the genes, pick whatever it is they're going to do? And he said, well, it is the environment. I said, but identical twins, they pretty much eat the same thing, they wear the same clothes, they live in the same neighborhood, same house. What causes their genes to diverge if they're in the same environment? He said, because the spirit, the soul inside, is part of the environment of that body, and they are two separate souls. So they're putting out their own energy, their own conscious energy, their own choices, their own thoughts, their own feelings. And those energy outputs of the actual animated being on the inside alters, or should I say, makes a separate environment in both bodies. And over time, the genes select different proteins based upon that environment. And that's why the divergence occurs. That was fascinating to me, and it was factual to me. It was not some woo-woo thing. This was a medical doctor who taught at medical school, sharing this with us. And I think, yes, she is with us. Let me go ahead and add her right now. Geraldine, welcome to the program. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Brooke. This is Geraldine.
Yes, wonderful to have you. Suzanne and I were talking about you. It was all good. Well, most of it was good. And I'm so excited to have you on the program. We were just talking about Dr. Bruce Lipton's work and a discussion that I had with him some years ago about why identical twins diverge by about age, between 30 and 40 years old. And he said it's because of the spirit or the soul that's inside those bodies. They're separate beings, even though they have identical gene pairs when they begin. The addition of the soul to the environment of that body influences the genes to produce different proteins, and that's why the expression of those genetic codes changes over time between them. Now, that was a remarkable discovery because what it means is very profound. It changes everything that we thought about what you're supposed to look like and what health condition you're supposed to have based on your genetics. It changes everything, doesn't it, Geraldine?
Yes, that's absolutely right. And this is actually one of the primary focuses of what I discussed is what the purpose of the soul is exactly on that level. I believe that it's something far more complex than we are even, we're just beginning to understand how it affects our genetic lineages, our connections, our networks, everything. So it is fantastic that that discovery was made, and there's so much more to discuss in that realm.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I don't think the discussion is being held by enough people. I think that there are a few out there that are discussing it, but in the very beginning of the program tonight, we were talking about the wellness industry. We don't really call it the health industry anymore. It's now the wellness industry. And we're not talking about pharmaceuticals. We're talking about non-pharmaceutical health. It's a $4 billion a year business in the United States. It's a big deal. People want to feel good. People realize that this world moves very, very fast. There's no, sitting around the farm waiting for the sun to set anymore. You got to be doing stuff in order to keep up with what humanity is about. And this can create, well, I won't say that. This can offer a minefield for people who do not have the skill set because they haven't been taught, they haven't been exposed to what you know. So you've kind of broken this down, or at least described this as a set of frequencies from very high up in the peace, love, and joy realm, all the way down to the very bottom, very dark, low energy of shame. So explain to the audience how you have arrived at this this energy value, shall we call it, or color or frequency of each one of these things, and how they play a role in our wellness.
Well, I talk about frequencies in terms of utilizing it as a tool for healing. And, and it's not me that actually came up with the concept of frequencies and the emotions that are tied to it. I mean, what we're really talking about is how frequency as almost a vibrational language of information is being transmitted, and how it's being perceived through the filter of our human, from multiple levels, from our basically what I believe is that the body is like one giant receptor, and so that receptor is kind of processing this information. And frequency as vibrational information is something that is used very commonly, even in our marketing. I mean, it's very well known that the range of colors, which is how we are bouncing light, is bouncing off our surroundings or any number of surfaces to produce or stimulate certain sensations, feelings, and emotions within our body. And so from that perspective, this is how we communicate as a vibrational language with our surroundings, with color. And so frequency is like as in a language which we can see. So color is a way of describing that language, or understanding and deciphering this language in a visible form. So when I talk about frequency for healing, I utilize the spectrum of color, and this is not none of this is new. In marketing, we understand color, and we learn how to utilize color in order to enhance certain emotions in an environment, how to shift how people are feeling in a certain space, and all of that is because the human body, even though we are all unique in our way, we have a certain architecture to our body that allows us to perceive these kinds of frequencies in a certain way. So this goes a lot deeper into how the body is structured as well. I believe that you were talking about the soul, how the soul is projecting information and almost as if organizing itself within the physical body, splitting itself into fragments of this information. And those fragments and the compartmentalization of those fragments of information allow us to, in a more organized way, process this information that we are receiving constantly from our environment. So, for example, if somebody is, yes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we receive, from our environment, that's for sure. Our DNA, our bodies, our minds, our emotions, we receive from all kinds of stuff, from music, from advertisements, from other people around us, from traffic, but we also broadcast. And maybe we don't really have a choice what we're exposed to all the time, because we have accidental collisions with life, but we can control what we broadcast, right?
Absolutely right. Yes. And so that takes us to our second part of this, which is one part of us which functions like a sponge that is constantly absorbing our surroundings. And the second part is what we are projecting into the world, what we are, in a sense, experiencing and giving off. And so that as well is a frequency which we can pick up off each other as well, human to human, and in our environment. So, this is a vibrational communication that I like to call it, that we must learn how to understand, and I guess in a sense speak that language of vibrational frequency, so we can better understand ourselves and our surroundings. And also healing. You were talking about healing earlier. I mean, if we are able to project into our environment certain change in how we're feeling and how we are intentionally experiencing something, then that means that we can shift our entire perception of what we are experiencing in that moment. So for healing, that is a tremendous tool that can be utilized to help the body, whether you're going through healing through cancer or any other illness. But all of these things go even deeper. I mean, the human body is constantly processing what we are receiving from our surroundings. And through the filters of our perception, which is our past experiences, all of this is allowing us to have, an overall, our overall frequency. And that frequency includes...
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. 3 minutes. Don't go away.